But
Right.
like, so one of the things in the media room was like, we started talking about Milo Shuzan, and the immediate reaction was, well, he's not coming back. No way, no shot. I'm like, how do you know? Like, we don't know that. Um, is he a? I mean, is he a first round pick, guys?
Close to it.
Okay, okay,
Close to it. But
okay. So right, so this is the debate. You know, no longer is close to it a sure thing.
Yep.
If Kelvin gets the money, and that kid, if I'm that group of kids, they're going to have Emmanuel Sharp back, right? They're going to have JoJo Tugler back. They're going to have Terrence Arsenault back. They're bringing Chris Senak, who's a stud. It is a
perfect
stud.
Houston player.
Perfect Houston player. Like, he takes the flame, he takes the torch from Juwan Roberts, and he's just going to go. But like, what if there is a motivational factor? Payday, let's go and do it. We're going to be preseason number 1. We're going to rule the Big 12 again. We're going to get back to the tournament. Why not us? Why not? That's going to be very real for them.
T.O., you talked before about how big, seeing like when you see Hunter Dickinson in person, how big he is. Seeing JoJo Tugler and Javier Francis in person and seeing how long their arms are is like, it's insane.
By the way, the recruiting class at Houston for next year is insane too. So we said, hey, it might not be next year for Houston. Very well could be the year after that if they can hang on to him. Big if.
I mean,
big if.
Houston is always.
You guys made me
curious
because I went down and looked at like the next few years or this year's draft. So the total value of the 26th pick in the draft is $13.5 million.
Yep.
The total value. If you're able to hang on for all 4 years, which when you're picked that far down, typically you make it 3, maybe you get the 4th one if you're able to stick. $2.5 million the first year, $2.6.5 million the second year, $2.8 million the third year, and then 5 the fourth year, because the fourth year is kind of like the reward for being able to stick around. There's a lot of guys that's going to be able to make decisions in the late teens.
Mm-hmm.
In the late teens, that's kind of where like the decision. If you go 15 and above, if you go lottery, you got to go. There's some guys that could probably get 6 or 7, especially this year, because you have the mix of NIL and the rev share. So like this is going to be an overpayment year for sure. But you look at like, where do your decisions begin? I would say they begin probably in the 24 to 25 range. Like it used to be, if you can get in the top 40, there's a good chance you get it to contract.
Before NIL?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Before NIL, you get to that top 40, you're almost guaranteed a salary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think you're getting, now that some of these guys are guaranteed a salary, and keep in mind, those are the highest paid guys anyway, 24, 25, that's kind of where you have to start making decisions. And even though the long-term ramifications of those long-term deals are different, like the next year payout is pretty good. So this is a tough, these guys are in a pickle now.
Yep.
In a pickle.
Even like I remember doing something about this in like 2018 or 2019, where if you were projected as like a top 75 prospect, according to like Draft Express or Vicini or whoever it was then you were probably looking at like it was like a 90% likelihood you would at minimum get an Exhibit 10. And if you get an Exhibit 10, that's 50 grand guaranteed. And there were a lot of players that were like, well, look, if I'm going to get 50 grand guaranteed and I have a chance to be able to get on a 2-way somewhere, like that's worth it for me.
Not even close now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like now if you get an Exhibit 10, like 50 grand is what like mid majors are paying like role players. You know, I talked with one head coach in the MAC who was all fired up because he had just signed two transfers that day. And you know what they spent on them? $350,000 on the two transfers.
On 2 kids?
On 2 kids.
In the MAC?
In the MAC.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're talking 6 figures in mid-major conferences. Now the MAC has more money than a lot of normal mids because of the football stuff and because they tend to have bigger fan bases. But you can make pretty good money playing mid-major basketball right now, like professional money. Yeah, like it's. The idea that you have to leave now to be able to get rich is not like you can make life change. JT Toppin, let's just say I saw Norlando's report that he's making $4 million next year. So I'm just going to say like if that ends up being true, $4 million is life-changing money. $400,000 is not, it can help you out of a situation. It's not life-changing money. $4 million, if you spend it wisely, is the kind of thing that can set you up for life if you are smart about the way that you invest.
Well, if you're smart about 400K, you can. Yeah, I'm not saying it's 4 million, but it
sets you up. Like, I'm not saying it's not pennies.
You
like,
can get 5% on 4 million. You're freaking rolling, man. Like that's $200,000 a year just for having the money sit if you have the right person. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's decision making time is just crazy.